Use and value diversity. In nature, biodiversity is essential for maintaining stability and resilience. Permaculture embraces this principle by encouraging the use of a wide range of species, techniques, and strategies within a system. For example, a food forest might combine fruit trees, vegetables, herbs, and nitrogen-fixing plants, each playing a unique role in supporting the ecosystem. This diversity not only ensures a steady supply of food, but also enhances the health of the soil, attracts beneficial insects, and helps the system recover from disturbances. On a social level, diversity in community participation, by involving people from different backgrounds, skill sets, and perspectives, ensures a more dynamic and creative approach to problem solving. Whether in plant selection, production methods, or community involvement, diversity builds resilience and increases the system's capacity to weather external challenges, whether they are climatic, economic, or social. Creatively use and respond to change. Adaptation is a constant in nature, and permaculture encourages us to embrace change as an opportunity rather than a threat. Just as ecosystems evolve and adjust to changing environmental conditions, permaculture designs are flexible and responsive. For instance, if a sudden drought reduces water availability, a permaculture garden might shift to drought-resistant crops or adjust irrigation systems to conserve water more effectively. In a community context, responding to change might involve reorganizing the distribution of resources in response to new needs or challenges. Creative solutions, such as rainwater harvesting systems or energy-efficient building designs, allow for continued success even in the face of unexpected events. This principle encourages resilience not by resisting change, but by learning from it, using it to innovate and improve the system. Adaptation becomes a fundamental part of maintaining the system's vitality and ensuring that it continues to thrive over time, regardless of the uncertainties that may arise. By applying these principles of integration and adaptation, permaculture designs become more than just sustainable. They become flexible, resilient, and deeply interconnected systems that thrive in harmony with nature and the communities that nurture them. With a clear knowledge of these principles, we are prepared to delve into the importance of patterns, which are the most visible expression of the coherence that underlies the natural world. Recognizing patterns and applying these design principles helps us design efficient, beautiful, and flexible systems, capable of nourishing people while regenerating ecosystems. In that sense, permaculture transcends mere space planning to become a true philosophy of collaboration with life. YouTube video, Permaculture in Action, The 12 Principles Demonstrated. YouTube video, Introduction to Permaculture Principles. More info. Permaculture Principles by David Holmgren. A comprehensive guide to David Holmgren's permaculture design principles. Chapter 2. Adapting permaculture concepts to diverse communities. As permaculture gained strength in different regions of the world, it became evident that its true essence did not reside solely in the adoption of sustainable agricultural techniques, but in the ability of its design principles to nourish human projects of all kinds. This flexibility is due, in part, to the fact that permaculture does not seek to impose universal solutions, but instead proposes a way of observing and relating to the environment that can be applied both in rural areas and in densely urbanized neighborhoods. For this reason, adaptability has become one of the distinctive characteristics of permaculture, allowing its incursion into areas as varied as community planning, the regeneration of degraded soils, the creation of therapeutic gardens, or even the rethinking of our supply chains. In many places, the effectiveness of this approach has been found to depend largely on its ability to adapt to local culture, climate, and social dynamics. Each community is a human ecosystem with a history, aspirations, and specific resources. Trying to have them all carry out the same actions in a standardized way would be as ineffective as trying to plant a single species of tree in all climates on the planet. On the contrary, permaculture encourages plurality of approaches and encourages active listening so that solutions emerge from collaboration and dialogue. Thus, the principles of observation and interaction, resource management and efficiency, and integration and adaptation come to life in each of the contexts, giving rise to an enormous diversity of initiatives that, however, share the same ethical and design backbone. The key lies in understanding that permaculture is not a goal, but a path in constant construction. Each project, regardless of its scale or location, becomes a living laboratory where people can put the principles learned into practice, observe the results, and based on this, make the necessary adjustments. This capacity for continuous learning becomes especially relevant in changing scenarios, such as those we face today, marked by the climate crisis, migration, and social inequalities. Recognizing the importance of adaptation and innovation is essential for permaculture to evolve at the pace of global transformations, without losing sight of the values of care and responsibility that sustain it. In this chapter, we will explore how permaculture can be a bridge between different generations, cultures, and socioeconomic contexts. We will see how these principles, far from being mere ecological guidelines, can be applied to strengthen the connection between diverse groups, young people and older people, rural producers and urban consumers, stable communities and groups with fewer opportunities for participation. Likewise, we will see the relevance of shortening supply chains and the way in which this practice reinforces transparency, trust, and soil regeneration while promoting food sovereignty. Each section will address everyday situations and, through concrete examples, will show how observation and design tools are effective in transforming and revitalizing seemingly distant environments. In order to maintain coherence with the foundations raised in the previous chapter, we will dedicate space to analyzing how cultural and ecological disconnection is related to the lack of knowledge of one's own territory and the detachment of those who, due to work or geographical circumstances, have distanced themselves from the basic processes that sustain life. Disconnection is not reduced to an issue of physical location, but also encompasses communication gaps and the undervaluation of traditional knowledge, problems that permaculture tries to remedy through collaboration and active participation. On the other hand, we will discuss ways to ground these concepts in community action plans based on participatory diagnoses, where people recognize themselves as protagonists of their own development. From resource mapping to ecological infrastructure planning, permaculture offers a catalog of tools so that each community can regenerate its environment holistically, simultaneously addressing biodiversity and social dynamics. Finally, we will pay special attention to groups and adults with fewer opportunities, recognizing that permaculture is enriched when it opens to the diversity of voices and proposes mechanisms to overcome economic, cultural, or geographical barriers. We will see how the inclusion of these groups not only responds to an ethical ideal, but also contributes to the general resilience of the project by generating support networks, mutual learning, and a more complete vision of the territory and its challenges. In summary, this chapter aims to make it clear that permaculture is as varied as life itself. We will place ourselves in different scenarios and perspectives, showing that, despite the multiplicity of realities, design principles are not limited to agronomy, but can constitute the glue that holds together communities with shared objectives, restoring the land, caring for people, and forging networks of solidarity in a constantly changing world. Throughout the next sections, we will discover the nuances, challenges, and opportunities that arise when permaculture goes beyond the limits of agricultural farms to establish itself in a creative and transformative way in the daily life of communities. Video: Permaculture, A Quiet Revolution, 2008. Full documentary, filmsforaction.org. 2.1 Strategies for Intergenerational Collaboration for Resilience Building for Environmental Benefits in a Changing World. The ability of a community to adapt to environmental and social changes depends, to a large extent, on the diversity and richness of the knowledge that is put into play. Collaboration between different generations constitutes one of the most promising pillars for forging this resilience, as it brings together the baggage of accumulated experience with the innovative energy that often characterizes youth. From the perspective of permaculture, this union is enhanced when the principle of observation and interaction is rigorously applied, which encourages any group to first learn from what is happening around them before designing or executing specific actions. The concept of observation and interaction focuses on two fundamental elements. First of all, it urges us to stop and carefully consider the physical, social, and cultural context that defines the environment. What are the relevant ecological dynamics? How do climate and land use affect people's way of living? What technologies or production methods already exist, and what improvements could be made? Secondly, it encourages dialogue with that context, assuming that any intervention must start from a deep understanding of the present relationships instead of imposing recipes. This systemic vision encourages collecting and contrasting information, analyzing the results of each action, and actively involving all population groups, including different generations. Permaculture promotes intergenerational collaboration as a powerful way to build resilience and environmental benefits in a changing world. It encourages the exchange of traditional knowledge between older and younger generations, blending wisdom and innovation to address contemporary challenges. Elders can share their experience with traditional practices, such as planting methods, food preservation, and crafts, while younger generations can introduce modern solutions, such as digital tools for information dissemination or small-scale renewable energy technologies. This collaboration not only strengthens community resilience, but also fosters mutual learning, ensuring that both ecological and social systems thrive. YouTube video, Intercultural Intergenerational Gathering at RDI Permaculture Community, official version. Examples of intergenerational collaboration in practice. Intergenerational garden design. One of the most effective ways to foster collaboration between generations is through intergenerational garden projects. These initiatives begin with a detailed assessment of the needs of each group, such as accessibility for elders, varying work rhythms, and time availability, and then create spaces that allow everyone to contribute to growing vegetables, medicinal plants, or even flowers. Elders, with their knowledge of the land, might observe where moisture accumulates or where the sun hits most during the day. Younger generations, on the other hand, could help design modern systems for irrigation or help organize the garden's workflow to increase efficiency. The collaborative design process empowers participants to make joint decisions, like determining the best planting schedules and creating community-oriented systems, making everyone feel like a vital part of the project. YouTube video, Intergenerational Gardening. YouTube video, Intergenerational Gardening Program. Days for the transmission of traditional knowledge. Participatory workshops can serve as an effective vehicle for transmitting traditional knowledge between generations. Elders may teach younger generations valuable skills, such as making preserves, identifying edible wild plants, or crafting tools. These workshops not only keep these important traditions alive, but also offer opportunities for documentation. Younger participants can use technology to record the teachings, creating videos, podcasts, or blogs to share with a wider audience. This process generates a living archive of local wisdom, preserving cultural knowledge and promoting the continuity of sustainable practices. Additionally, it allows the broader community to benefit from knowledge that would otherwise be limited to one generation or local group. Environmental restoration projects. Environmental restoration projects, such as reforestation efforts, protecting water sources, or recovering wetlands, also benefit from intergenerational collaboration. Those who have lived in a specific area for decades often hold a wealth of knowledge about the local environment, including vegetation growth cycles, rainfall patterns, and areas prone to erosion. This insight can be invaluable for restoration projects. Younger generations, equipped with modern technologies such as digital mapping or data analysis, can complement this traditional knowledge with accurate and up-to-date information. By combining the knowledge of experienced community members with the innovation and technical skills of younger participants, restoration projects can be more comprehensive, strategic, and effective. These collaborative efforts can result in more realistic action plans and successful long-term ecological restoration. YouTube video, Gardening and Grand Friends, Intergenerational Learning in Douglas County. Community skill sharing programs. Intergenerational collaboration can also take the form of skill sharing programs where people from different age groups come together to learn from each other. For example, older generations may teach younger people how to sew, knit, or craft handmade goods, while younger generations can teach digital literacy, graphic design, or social media management. This cross-generational skill exchange promotes a deeper sense of connection and respect between community members. These programs also empower individuals by diversifying their skill sets, enhancing both personal and community resilience. YouTube video, How to Design a Permaculture Neighborhood, Seed Saving and Plant Breeding Initiatives. Many Indigenous and elder community members hold valuable knowledge about seed saving and plant breeding techniques, preserving heirloom varieties that have been passed down through generations. Younger people can learn these skills and, with the help of technology, modernize the seed saving process. For example, digital platforms can be used to create seed banks or to connect farmers and gardeners across wider areas to exchange seeds. This intergenerational exchange ensures that biodiversity is maintained and that traditional agricultural knowledge is preserved for future generations. YouTube video, Indigenous Seed Rematriation 2020. Energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. Elders who have lived through various energy challenges can share knowledge on how to conserve energy in homes, particularly in rural areas. Younger generations can take these ideas and adapt them to current technologies, such as installing solar panels, wind turbines, or rainwater harvesting systems. Through this collaboration, communities can modernize their energy systems, making them more sustainable while keeping traditional methods alive. These projects can be paired with educational workshops that teach people of all ages how to use renewable energy sources effectively, reducing dependence on fossil fuels and enhancing the resilience of local energy systems. Cultural and environmental festivals. In many communities, festivals are an important way to celebrate both cultural and environmental traditions. Older generations can share stories about the history of the land, local environmental challenges, and sustainable practices that were once common in the area. Younger generations, on the other hand, can bring these stories to life through modern technology, art, and social media platforms. For example, they could create interactive exhibits, documentaries, or social media campaigns to raise awareness of local sustainability efforts. These festivals can serve as platforms to celebrate both the environmental and cultural richness of the community, strengthening intergenerational bonds. Shared housing and cooperative living. Cooperative living spaces or shared housing arrangements are another way that intergenerational collaboration can thrive. Older generations may offer wisdom and experience regarding communal living, gardening, and managing shared resources, while younger generations contribute their energy, modern knowledge, and innovative ideas for cooperative projects. For example, they might create a collective permaculture garden that serves as a focal point for the community's food production, as well as a space where neighbors of all ages can gather to work, share meals, and build relationships. These living spaces can also prioritize energy efficiency and low-impact living by using sustainable building materials and energy-saving technologies. YouTube video, Tools for Designing Change/Permaculture Design for People and Society. These experiences demonstrate that resilience does not depend solely on the adoption of specific techniques, but also on the strength of the social bonds that are forged throughout the process. Constantly observing how each generation participates, what motivations they have, and what obstacles they face helps adjust the dynamics and ensure that no voice is left out. In this way, the interaction between people of different ages and worldviews, it becomes an engine of innovation and environmental regeneration. As we will explore in more detail in the following chapter, the world is undergoing rapid transformation due to the combined effects of climate change, accelerated urbanization, and widening communication gaps between different segments of the population. In this context, projects that bring together people of all ages through the permaculture approach stand out for their remarkable adaptability. By fostering observation and interaction, these projects allow the design process to evolve naturally, valuing the wisdom of elders while remaining open to the infusion of fresh, innovative ideas from younger generations. This dynamic exchange not only strengthens the community's ability to confront environmental challenges, but also cultivates intergenerational collaboration as a continuous source of solidarity, resilience, and mutual learning. Through this approach, communities become more equipped to navigate the complexities of a changing world, thriving on the collective strength of all generations.